you want to have good sex, people, take note. What is sex magic?
Sex magic is...
Dr. Laura Berman is a world-renowned sex, love, and relationship therapist.
Loosen your butthole.
Oh, no, I can't do that. I don't.
And it'll make their penis dance.
The pink sparkly vagina. What is it?
I taught a group of women about this. She was now 3 months pregnant.
Oh.
Pull it back out and anchor it.
Pull what out?
You can pull anything out you want. What I do know after 30 years is that the 24-hour orgasm. So
orgasm for 24 hours?
If he wants to last longer.
Is that real or is that just total bullshit?
This is the cool part.
Welcome back to Getting Open with me, Andrea Miller. Today we are talking about sex magic with Dr. Laura Berman. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is by far one of my very favorite episodes. And yes, it is the spiciest by far, but honestly, it is also one of the most profound and energizing and healing and inspiring episodes that I have done. And I'll tell you why. Because we covered a lot of ground, and honestly, from how sexual energy can be your superpower to manifestation. Yes, for real. I was really surprised to learn about this. To how to create a pink sparkly vagina. Like, wait, what? To what a retrograde orgasm is and how it can make sex way more pleasurable and last longer. Yes, for real. There's truth in advertising here. But honestly, what I feel most excited about in bringing the show to you today is how you can tap into this incredible energy in such a profound way for being more seen and really being in your authentic power, and how you can share that with somebody. And so honestly, I am so psyched to bring you the show. Let's get into it. Dr. Laura Berman is a world-renowned sex, love, and relationship therapist. She earned 2 master's degrees, and a PhD from New York University, and has spent the past 30 years devoting her career to helping others learn to love and be loved better from a mind, body, and spiritual perspective. Dr. Berman is a columnist for USA Today, a New York Times best-selling author who has written 9 books and is an award-winning syndicated radio host. She is also the host of the popular love and sex advice podcast, The Language of Love. Welcome, Laura Berman. It's so great to have you back on Getting Open. And congratulations on your newest book, Sex Magic.
Yeah,
I can't wait to
10,
talk about it.
Sex Magic. It's a fun one.
And it's out today. I mean, honestly, it is such a exciting day for you. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, like you said, I've written a lot of books, but this one is bringing together everything I love: relationships, love, lots of good sex, and spirituality all in one.
Honestly, it is a book that I loved. I devoured it completely, and I've been talking about it with my friends and colleagues. So I'm going to just tee up a little bit of what you wrote. You said, I wrote this book because I believe sex can be the most important thing we ever do with our minds, bodies, and spirits. I believe sex is so much more than what we see in the media and what most people have come to expect and accept in the boardroom. And you say, everybody stay with me, we want our, and I like this, we want our sex lives to be meaningful and sacred, but kinky and raw all at the same time. And I can help you get there. And there's more. We're gonna dig in so much deeper. But I just want to tee that up because I feel like that is at the heart of sex magic. So what is sex magic?
Sex magic is that it can be, it doesn't have to be kinky, but it's about all of the physical aspects of sex, but it allows you to take your sexual experience physically and emotionally to an entirely new level. It's basically taking everything that has been this ancient sacred wisdom. Our ancestors were having kick butt sex. I mean, they knew how to do this. The energetics of sex, the exchanges of energy, so that your sexual sensation is not just localized to your genitals like it is for most of us in today's world, but you can move it through your entire body. You can blow it out the top of your head. You can circle it between the two of you. It creates a deeper level of emotional intimacy and self-revelation and vulnerability. It's a system that where I just brought together Tantra, Kundalini, Kama Sutra, Taoism, all of these ancient practices, and tried to really make them practical and applicable. And I have tons and tons of exercises in there to do that. But the goal is really, the antidote to bedroom boredom. I think people are looking for the antidote to their kind of boredom, especially in long-term relationships, in all the wrong places. Especially now, I'm hearing so much about, well, maybe we should open our relationship. Maybe we should bring a third person in where, let's spice it up. And I could give you 365 tips, tools, toys, role plays. And in a year to a year and a half, you'll be asking for more, looking for more of a dopamine rush. And it's like looking for the excitement in all the wrong places. And so the reason that I didn't think I had another sex book in me, I thought I had said everything I wanted to say, but this whole question started evolving. And what I do know after 30 years is that everything we want, whether it's related to sex and love or anything else in life, we want because we want a feeling. You want that new car because of how you're going to feel driving it or having it in your driveway, or that partner, or that sexual experience. So as I started really asking people, okay, you want more, you want to spice it up, you're looking for, what is it that you actually want to feel? And what it all comes down to, and what it comes very easily in a brand new relationship, or when you do something really new, but once again, everything new gets old eventually, is excited intensity or intense excitement, right? Those were the words that kept coming up. And that's really what Sex Magic delivers. It's a way to have sexual intensity, excitement, arousal, mind, body, and spirit arousal, intensity of connection, if you're doing it with someone else, that doesn't require one more, which those are fine. I wrote 8 books on those, the tips, tools, toys, role plays, bringing in extra people, whatever. You can do all of that, but you don't have to keep searching for the next thing.
Right. Well, totally. And I just want to say up front, this is an amazing book if you are single, and whether you're single or with somebody, this is great for solo sex, and it is great for partnered sex. So just know this is equal opportunity, pleasure for everybody. And let me just also read something beautiful that you wrote. And I guess before I do that, but adding to what you're saying, when I think about at the heart of this, at the heart of your beautiful book, like so much of it to me is really about liberating yourself. And you talk a lot about energy, which is what the question is going to be, but it feels like it's such a novel and powerful book because it is, it's not mechanical. I mean, and you talk about some great exercises, which we'll get into, but there is a depth in terms of tapping into your own energy, your own vulnerabilities, your own sexiness, and sharing that with a partner that is really beautiful and sexy, right? And so we're going to get into it. But let me say this from what you wrote. Sexual energy is just about the highest frequency energy our bodies can hold. And as such, it is a powerful, creative, and manifesting tool we can access and harness. So manifestation is a big topic on my show. And then you say, essentially, this is for readers who are ready to take their sex life to the next level, experiencing pleasure, mind-blowing orgasms, soul-to-soul connections, healing, and manifestation. And I read that and I was like, whoa, I can't wait to read this book. Because honestly, that, back to the whole point of the book, that tapping in and you reference the Kundalini and the Tantric stuff, and we'll get into that too. But what really feels very different is you're not talking about just different moves and different positions in different places. Like you are tapping into, and by the way, I think in part this registers so much with me because as my friends and some of the viewers of the show know, I've been doing deep energy work, and it changes everything. Like, it opens up your heart, your mind, your body in ways, I mean, for me, like, genuinely mind-blowing. And now, thankfully, my sexual experience is way more pleasurable because I've been doing that work. So you when this landed on my desk, I'm like, oh my God, this is for me, and this is for everybody. I mean, I hope for most people that realize it's, like you say, it is so much deeper than just, I mean, the physical practice is important, and that, that relationship connection, but what you've tapped into with this book is so much more than, I feel like you say, how sex is portrayed in the media, right? And, so often it's just trivialized, and you do the opposite of that. In fact, you use a great acronym. Where's your sex acronym? Oh, I've had it.
The Sacred Energy Exchange.
SEX.
Yes. That's really that's what sex magic at its core. It's treating sex as a sacred energy exchange. And if you think about it, Liz, even on practical terms, because I really did, obviously I wrote this book for people like you who are already, playing in the world of manifestation and energy work and exploring that. But I also really, one of the biggest fans of sex magic is Nick Cannon. Who is not, I mean, he believes in manifestation, but he ain't doing any energy work. And he has 12 kids and 5 baby mamas. And he loves it on a practical level, like on a experiential level, because obviously you really like sex. So even if you're not, I love working, the energy of sex is the juiciest part of me. But I wrote this book with people in mind who are just mainstream, not really exploring
not into the woo necessarily,
not
right?
into the woo necessarily. Yeah. You don't have to be, because here's the practical part of it. For most of us, when you have any kind of sexual exchange or sexual stimulation, it's usually localized to the genital region, right? You have tingling, warmth, arousal, contractions, orgasm, whatever. With sex magic, you learn to pull that sensation up through your entire body, out the top of your head, circle it between you.
It can last.
And it lasts
a lot longer. We're going to talk about some of those techniques. You're not going to leave us hanging,
No.
Dr. Berman.
No, I'll talk about whatever you want. But back to the manifestation thing. So here's the key. And this is what I wrote about in my last book, Quantum Love, which is essentially the science behind the law of attraction, especially as it applies to how you want your love life to look. But, manifestation or the law of attraction is about matching your intention with the energetic frequency in your body. Like, it's not enough to just say, I have $1 million, right? Anything you read or learn about the art, law of attraction or manifestation, they'll say to you, you don't only say, I have $1 million, you imagine.
Well, you feel it.
What you feel.
Yeah, you feel that feeling of joy and gratitude, and you can't fake it.
Yes. And what you are doing when you have that feeling is you are moving your body into the energetic frequency of they who has $1 million. So this is what we understand from quantum physics, and it's the science underneath how the law of attraction works. That when you set the intention, it is your body is your antenna and your receiver, like a radio.
Transceiver. Exactly.
A transmitter and a receiver, a transceiver. So you are projecting with your body's energy by moving into the energy of the person who has $1 million. You are thinking, I have $1 million. And the big power comes from the energetic state of having $1 million, which would be something like joy, elation, excitement, right? Something in that category. So there are these different energetic frequencies our body are capable to hold. That's anything you really want is going to be
it comes back to that
higher frequency. So sexual arousal, and in particular orgasm, is the highest energetic state, the highest frequency state your body can hold. So if you set an intention, whatever it is, and I teach you how to do this in the book, and you hold that intention during arousal and orgasm, you are literally supercharging it into the quantum field, where it has, it's even more momentum behind it becoming manifest.
Well, I want to come back to some of those specifics, nerding out to the telos and the sigil.
Yeah.
Okay, because I would love for people to be like, oh my god, what is she even talking about? To take, and obviously all the very detailed steps are in the book, but before we jump into that, just to really level set, I asked Dane to tee up the consciousness map that you have from Quantum Love. Dane, can you get that on the screen? And for those of you who are listening, I'm going to try to share. I'm going to just talk a little bit. I have never seen this, and I'm totally into this stuff. This was genius to me. And now just everybody bear with me. This says the calibrated energetic value of emotional state, and it has these different 20 through 1,000 different levels of vibration. So essentially, when any of us say, "Oh, that's so high vibe," which I say like every day, 700 times a day, or "Oh crap, that's really low vibe," calling myself out when I'm complaining or whatever. So if you're not watching, just listen. At the bottom is shame and humiliation, like kind of some of the worst low vibe feelings. Yeah, that's a 20. And then, then there's apathy and despair, anxiety, fear, guilt, blame, grief, regret, anger, hate. I mean, hopefully feel that with me, right? Just those feelings of like, oh, so low. I mean, don't feel them for too long. Don't hang on to them. But like, you know what I'm talking about? Those low vibe feelings, right? And then there's disappointment. And what she has here, what Dr. Berman has, is kind of that ego frequency when you're in a place of lack. And then you're going up and to the right, going into willing and optimistic. And, this is kind of stepping up, trusting and surrendered, understanding, empathetic. Right now, you're starting to get into those heart frequencies, right? You're feeling them with me, people. Come on. Accepting, forgiving, joy, peace, love, reverence, bliss, and enlightenment. And now we're up in that 600, 700, 800. Is it millihertz, megahertz? I don't even know what's some kind of hertz. Yeah, some kind of hertz. But we're talking frequencies. And I say this, and then what she has described here is the ego frequency is to me, and then in the middle it's by me, and then at the top that transceiver, that radiating beautiful energy is through me. And I really want everybody, honestly, get the book no matter what. But this map it's amazing. And again, I've never seen this, and it does such a beautiful job of mapping out how this makes sense. And with your point, Laura, of like tapping into that, to our heart, saying, okay, whether it's $1 million or, the best relationship or any
whatever it is you're wanting to manifest.
That if you're feeling those low vibes, to take the steps to get into that high vibe mode to get the outcome that you want. And maybe that's a good jumping off point. So to the extent that, let's say somebody wants an epic relationship, how do they use sex magic using your techniques of manifestation? How do they get that epic relationship?
Well, first of all, specifically for your relationship, and this map I first presented in Quantum Love in my last book. And I can't, I am standing on the shoulders of giants. So this is my representation of fundamentally David Hawkins' map of consciousness. He is a rock star. He wrote a book that I think anyone into manifestation should read called Power versus Force. He went around the world, thousands and thousands of people, sort of combining kinesiology, psychology, psychiatry, sociology, experts, questionnaires, and was able to calibrate the energetic frequency of these different emotional states.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, so David Hawkins from
Power versus Force.
It's
called the map of consciousness that he was able to create. So these numbers are not my, I'm just putting them on this map. I added in the ego frequency and home frequency as a way to understand what range we're in. So anywhere really from shame to surrender, and there's a lot in between those two, is kind of ego frequency. And then anywhere from like shame and surrender to willing and optimistic, you're moving into home frequency. And that's really our natural state, what we're born with. But of course, we get all this trauma and conditioning and fear and blah, blah, blah that conditions us out of it. So if you can spend 51% of the time in home frequency, your whole life will change for the better. And you can start to change your relationship in the same way. So let's say you want your partner to show up more romantically, right? Imagine, and I teach you how to do this in Quantum Love, and even to a certain extent, I revisit it and Sex Magic, but you basically move yourself in your imagination in first person as if it's happening right here, right now. Because if you do that, the body and the brain don't know the difference between reality and rehearsal. So your body will move into the energy as if it's really happening. If you're imagining yourself in first person, you aren't watching yourself in a scene, you're in it. Imagining all your senses of what a romantic scene with your partner showing up just the way you want would be, right? And get really clear on what that feeling state is. You're anchoring, you'll feel it in your body as you move there in first person. You hold that energy. And then when you're around them, this is the cool part about Quantum Love, about Sex Magic, is that with our love relationships in particular, this works for everyone. Like even before I go give a talk to 1,000 people, I move myself into the energetic frequency that I want them to match, that I want them to entrain to, and I hold it.
Okay. So hang on. How do you do that? How do you, if you're going to talk to 10,000 people or, your huge audiences, how do you do that?
I'm going to talk to 10,000, I don't know, physicians, let's say, or whatever. And I'm thinking, these are people in their left brain. So how do I want to feel at the end of this? Like I can imagine, I want them to be open. I want them to be receptive. I want them to think I did a good job. I want them to be inspired, right? How will I feel if that all goes down, right? The way I want. And so when I first started learning to do this, now I can just move myself into these different states. But the way and the way I would have practically moved myself into that state is I would have imagined myself on stage. I'm looking at the audience. They're all looking at me. They're not looking at their phones or falling asleep or rolling their eyes. They're engaged. They're excited. They're inspired. They're tapped in and tuned in. Oh, how does that feel? Oh, I feel alive. I feel excited. I feel inspired. Okay. And I'm in that state. I'm not seeing myself on stage. I'm looking at the audience. I can look down at my hands and my feet. I'm there as if it's happening right here, right now. And I move and I feel what that feels like. It feels like a spreading in my chest, a loosening in my hips, a bubbling in my belly, a lightness in my head, like how excitement and anticipation and validation kind of feels, right? And then I go into the room in that state.
Yeah. Okay.
And you can do that in love. Like a classic example, I just gave this to someone else recently. It's so silly and small, but speaks volumes. I live in LA and two of my kids were home over the holidays and I really wanted to go skiing and, oh my gosh, Big Bear, it's like 4 hours away.
Yeah.
No one felt like going. And I wanted to go. So I started thinking, well, why do I want to go? What was it that I'm looking to feel? Like, why is it so important to me? They don't care. It's because I really wanted to get away from the distractions and have this experience that I used to have with them when they were little, of their rosy cheeks and snotty noses and drinking hot chocolate and laughing together and being outside together and the bonding. So I went into the zone as if we're all sitting at the top of the mountain having hot chocolate and laughing together. I moved. This was after they rejected my idea. And I moved myself into that energy. And I just started holding that whenever I was around them. And after about 2 days, I didn't have to say a word. They were like, oh yeah, okay, maybe we should go to Big Bear. I mean, it literally is a Jedi mind trick.
It is such a Jedi mind trick. These are not the droids you're looking for.
No.
This is the ski trip you need.
Yes, that's what it was. And I didn't have to say a word.
Oh my God.
Anytime I'm going to
You're dangerous, girl.
Yeah, you got to use it for good. I've never tried it for evil. I don't even know that it would work for evil, but maybe it would. I do it when I'm going to have a difficult conversation with my husband.
But the point is, but the high vibes, I mean, the whole point is that you're in that high vibe state, which is so attractive and magnetic and powerful.
Yes, people
right?
have
That's
a
the whole
hard time.
point.
And we're all human tuning forks. We're constantly attuning to and matching each other. And depending how codependent you tend to be, how much of a people pleaser you tend to be, unconsciously, you tend to match everyone else's frequency, right? When you start to hold your own, it gives a whole new meaning to hold your own. Everyone and everything matches you.
It is a superpower, Laura.
Yes, it is.
I mean, and that to me, I mean, and just personally having been tapping into this kind of energy for some time now through breath work, through deep meditation, through chakra work, which I want to talk to you about. Because that chakra work has been game changer for me. I mean, in every way, including sexually. But it all goes hand in hand. And so that idea of really, I mean, holding your own and being the creator in your life, it is through just very deliberately deciding these intentions. What I want is to be in this joyful, creative, grateful state and practicing it, right? That's the amazing thing, is that it is so freaking powerful and empowering. And as human beings, the emotions are contagious, right? In fact, the negative emotions are even more contagious.
They are. And if you go to my website, drlauraberman.com, at the very top, it says, what do you really want out of love? Or what do you really want in love? And there is a quiz I created where you can determine how you want to feel in love. And then if you start cultivating that feeling through your own imagination, as if it's happening right here, right now in first person, and attune yourself to start. So let's say you want more playfulness and more passion and more whatever in your relationship. You start looking for opportunities to be playful. Oh, there, I'm walking by a swing set. I'm going to hop on and swing for a minute. Right. Oh, my kid has asked me to play with them. Instead of answering another email, I'm going to get on the floor. I'm going to cultivate play. I'm going to cultivate feelings of being cherished. I'm going to look for opportunities to cultivate that practically. And I'm going to regularly put myself into the energy of she who is experiencing playfulness, she who is experiencing feeling cherished. And then it just magnetizes it to you.
It's how you change how you show up. And to me, when you change how you show up, you change. I mean, we are all emitting electromagnetic fields from our hearts, right? And so when we show up differently, people respond to us differently. I mean, in a way, it is magical.
Yes, it is.
And it's physics, right? I mean, it really is. It's all about that energy.
I mean, quantum physicists actually, when they do experiments, they do them in a vacuum and they leave the premises, because the quantum physicists' unconscious, much less conscious, will impact the field. Intentions will impact the outcome on the quantum level, because all potentials exist on the atomic level. And at the atomic level, if we were to look at ourselves through an atomic microscope, we are pure vibrating energy. We are not solid. And so that energetic frequency is constantly shifting and changing, usually matching what's around us until we learn to hold our own.
And then, but to me, it's like when you show up, if you're doing the work, rather than absorbing everybody else's energy, you bring it.
Yes.
Right. And that's so I think you talked about this in the book. I literally took 12 pages of notes. So I'm like, I hope I'm going to get right. I feel like you were talking about like particularly women who show up in the bedroom feeling sexy. Mm-hmm. That ends up super impacting the experience.
Oh,
right?
Hugely.
I mean, like it so over indexes for that. You know, it's like you create your own reality is the point, right?
And you can set the stage for a sexual encounter. Let's say you want it to feel like you're a goddess, or let's say you want it to just feel really sweet and intimate, or you want it to be kinky and wild and passionate. You can move yourself into that energy and embody it. And you're absolutely right that, and I do speak to this, I know in the book that we all know and have seen women who maybe don't match the societal ideal of perfect beauty, but they walk into a room and everyone in the room is attracted to them. And it's because of their frequency. It's because of their confidence. It's because of their energy. It's magnetic. And we really are designed to be magnetic beings. It's just that we get distracted out of it, and our insecurities get in the way, and our traumas get in the way, and our stories get in the way. But once you get really clear and you start intentionally shifting these things, everything starts to change.
Well, totally. And that's, I mean, and you're just genuinely a brilliant teacher. I mean, I'm like, why the frick didn't I know all this before? You know what I mean? It's like, okay, right. Everything is always right on time, but it's an exciting time, for your book. And, I feel like manifestation as a topic is enjoying a renaissance right now.
Yeah.
I think people are really starting to go, oh, wow. I mean, I have long said and felt we all have way more power than we realize.
We do. And that's the most important
That
message.
is the good news. That is the good news.
Yes.
Okay, so let me go back to how sexual energy can be the just one of the most, or if not the most powerful way to manifest. So, you're just talking about setting that intention, and if we want to feel, whatever that sort of expression of what we want, whether it's kinky, raw, sweet, you name it. Okay. So that's the intention, but take me one step further into just those, the techniques of like the telos.
The manifesting.
Yeah.
Yes,
because that literally blew my mind. I'm like, and by the way, I haven't done it yet, but I promise I'm gonna.
Yeah, no, sex magic is hundreds of years old. Actually, I think it was like in the 1800s when it was first written about. And what I love about, most of the texts and I've studied all the texts on sex magic, they're really hard to follow. They're really esoteric. I was able
probably
to
deliberately, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in a lot of ways, it's probably like, this is powerful, and if it's powerful, it's dangerous. Let's only make sure, you need to be initiated. Otherwise, getting into the wrong hands could be bad.
And this is what they teach in the ancient mystery schools. This is what evidently Cleopatra practiced, but made her so irresistible. But the divine feminine mystery schools you hear about, the Egyptian mystery schools you hear about. All right. So the sigil, the telos is basically the sex magic term for that which you want to manifest. Your desire
you
is your
telos. Okay.
Yeah, you can do telos, tomato, tomato, whatever. But you set, that's your intention.
And should you write it down? Like, okay, let's say somebody wants a magnificent relationship, just using that example.
Yeah, and you say it as I am. Those are the most powerful words.
I am in a magnificent, fulfilling relationship.
Yes, I am in a magnificent, fulfilling. And if I were coaching, you can do that.
Okay, coach me.
You, I would say, tell me more about, because magnificent for you and magnificent for me is different, but you can't get, you have to do one at a time, and you can't make it too long. I'll tell you why in a second. So I am in a relationship with a man who is what? Honorable, trustworthy, passionate, playful, fulfills my emotional and physical needs, more than ever. Like, you would go, you'd go a little bit deeper, right? And you could just say, or you can really anchor what magnificent relationship, what does it feel like inside me if I'm in a magnificent relationship, right? And start working from there. But let's just say I am in a magnificent relationship, okay? You write that down, the words, then that's your telos or telos. Then you're going to make it into a sigil, which the only reason you don't have to make it into a sigil, but I love making sigils.
Hang on, but what is a sigil?
I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
It's a pictorial, telos, a pictorial representation of your telos. Okay. So because it's much easier to anchor in the mind than having to think through or chant a sentence while you're getting aroused and having orgasm. And so you're basically making these words into an image. And what you do is you write down, I'm in a magnificent relationship. So you cross out all the vowels. And if you want to, if you still have too many letters, you can cross out the repeating consonants. And then you're left usually with like 4 to 6, somewhere in there, consonants. And then you combine them together into a picture. that creates like a symbol. I like to contain it with a circle around it. And then you really anchor that. You can put that under your pillow. You can keep it by your bedside. You can hold it. You can just remember it. But basically through arousal and orgasm, I even have had people pause right when they're kind of getting close, and they're, just like to pull it back out and anchor it. And only one of you can do this. Like you
hang and pull what out?
Yeah, that's right. Your sigil.
Pull the teal, pull something out.
You can pull anything.
Pull a couple things out.
Yes, including your sigil.
Don't pull that out. No, keep that in. No, just kidding. No, but then I'll so you're bringing. So it's like just so it's that you're getting that
presence.
Visual, right?
Yeah.
Like it's really in your brain and your body is aroused and you're open. Right?
Yes.
Now you're really open at that phase if you're right on the edge of
you're in
orgasm.
a really high frequency state.
You're really high
and you
frequency,
can even
really
do
open.
it in the you can even do it in the aftermath if you want to after orgasm. But basically when you make your sigil, you're holding it, you're staring at it, and you're like imagining infusing all of the energy of the feelings you would have if that thing were manifest into that sigil. And then you're supercharging it out with arousal and or orgasm. And it's very, very powerful. That's how sex magicians work.
So, okay. So then you whether you take the sigil out or you're remembering it. And so now you've climaxed. And like you say, you can even look at it afterward, kind of in the,
in the afterglow.
In the afterglow. Yep. And then what do you do with it?
Then it's important to release it because this is another part of the art of manifestation. When what you would do, sex magic aside, is you would move yourself into the energy of that which you want to create. You would imagine yourself there. You would hold that energetic frequency. And then you would say, and I release it. Like, I trust that it's going to be manifest. The reason for that is that when we are holding on to it, there's a want and a need attached to it. Like, I really need this new job or I'm not going to be able to pay the bills. So I have a new job. I have a new job. I have a new job.
It's not, you're fighting the energy, right?
Yes. And it creates an accidental energy of scarcity. So the cleanest way I have found to do this is to rip up or safely burn the sigil after you've done it. If you want to keep working on that same thing you want to manifest, you'll just make a new one.
Okay.
The next time.
It's a one-use deal.
Yes. And then you remake it if you want to keep working on it, or you make a different one. But yes, it's a one-use deal.
But what would you say? I mean, because, oh my God, somebody like me, I'm so type A. All right, I'm doing this 30 times.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the idea. I mean, is the best bet you do it once and then you literally, like you say, whether it's burning it or ripping it up, but you energetically let it go and you just say, and it's done. And you just,
and so it is.
And so it is. And maybe a month later or 2 months later or
whenever you want. If you want to
feel
be
like you just need a little,
you can do it in 30. We won't know where to find Andrea. She'll be in her room masturbating with her sigil in her hand and making a new one every time.
All right, so everybody can't get any work done. Very good with the sigil.
I mean, you can, right? Like, this should be pleasurable and purposeful, but not with all things, like this is the oxymoron of manifestation, is that it's the most effective manifestation is that which is held lightly,
Well, and that's what I wanted to drill into, because that clinging and that grasping, I mean, so yeah, we can make fun like, okay, 30 times, but that feels very freaking counterproductive. Well, because if I feel like I had to do it 30 times, then I'm not trusting. Then like you say, it's kind of going back into that scarcity mode, when better off just saying, I trust, and whether it's, and trusting in divine timing, you know, and whatever the thing is, right? I mean, it's like, okay, I'm going to do the sigil. I'm going to let it go. And there are plenty of other sigils that I want to make, because there are plenty of other things I want to achieve and experience in my life. Right. So it feels like really the wise move is not to do it multiple times.
I think it just depends on the energy with which you're doing it. If you love it and you love imagining this relationship and it's fun and uplifting for you, and you're like, I'm going to do this every time until I don't.
fair
right?
enough. Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
but if you're just like, I got to do this 30 times,
Yeah.
so I make sure it works. And,
Yeah.
then that's a very different energy.
That's kind of low vibe.
Right. If it's coming from a place of this is fun, this feels really good. I love thinking about this. So this is where I'm going to hang for a while until I don't want to. That's totally fine.
Okay. All right. So just to quickly summarize, for the manifestation aficionados out there, amazing recommendations over here, Laura. So you write down your intention, really clear. I am, whatever it is, I am in a beautiful job. I am in, and I realize
I am becoming a mother. I am writing a best-selling book. I am whatever it is.
Super healthy. I am living in a body that is super healthy, right? I mean, just whatever that thing is. So the I am statement, very clear. And then you write it down, and then you make your sigil. You cross out the vowels and maybe the repeating consonants, and then you make it into something symbolic. You look at it a few times, you keep it next to you. Then whether you're having sex with somebody else or on your own, before you climax, you either pick it up, look at it again, remember it, or in the afterglow. And then in the end, you tear it up, you burn it safely, of course. And then you just feel the joy of it. And so it is. I mean, that is an amazing technique. I'm going to try it tonight.
Good.
I'm going to try it tonight.
How it goes.
I might try in the next 5 minutes. I'll be right back.
And there are lots of ways to do this. I mean, I give an example because I have a little case file at the end of each chapter where I talk about a client story.
Which are great. They're so good.
I changed their identifying stuff, but the example I gave in that chapter, he made his sigil he just made an artistic picture that represented what he wanted, like a drawing. So it doesn't have to be the words. And I also get into how to work with the moon and the sun and all these different ways to create magic that are really beautiful.
Yeah, honestly, so much good stuff. And like you said, you've got quite a few exercises. What is the number one exercise, would you say, for people who are more new to this, right? Who are like, I really don't know what they're talking about. It sounds really good. I want it. But how do I get started? Yeah. How does somebody get started? And yes, you described that feeling of like feeling joyful and so forth. But how do you kind of take that, if that's the first step, then that next step into being able to experience sex magic? What exercise would you recommend?
Yeah.
What thing?
I really wrote the book with that person in mind. So I start off teaching you how to exercises for attuning to your own body's energy. Just like, what does my energy feel like? Can I, sex aside, right? Can I feel? There are ways that I teach you to kind of just attune to your energetic frequency, into your aura, and to the energetic being you are. Then I teach you how to kind of start playing with the energy, maybe through self-stimulation and pulling it up from the genitals where it's located. I teach you how to kind of just pull it up using your breath, intention, and your Kegel muscles. Just pull it up to your belly button and let it drop back down. And then pull it up to your belly button and let it drop back down. And so then it's a whole section about kind of building arousal within you. And then I get into how do you create arousal and energy between the two of you. So you're not only pulling that energy all the way up or as far as you want, you're circling it between the two of you. There's a progression. And I think if you read the book, you can skip around as much as you want, but if you're new to this and you really want to explore how to take your physical and emotional experience of sex to new heights, start at the beginning. Even if you just flip through and ignore everything I wrote and just do the exercises, there probably half the text in the book is really concrete, practical exercises because I really wanted this to be tangible and actionable.
Yeah. And it is. And let's maybe with that, there are some things that I'd never heard of before. I'm like, oh, what? What's that? Oh my God, everybody's going to want to know about that too. What's the Tantric triple lock?
Okay. That is basically squeezing your throat chakra, your sacral and solar plexus chakra, and your root chakra first in order.
Okay, but hang on, because a lot of people won't know what
what the sacral is. So basically, it's a way of tightening the muscles in your body and using your breath to shift the way, I'm talking in the practical sense, to shift the way your body moves sexual arousal through you. So if you do the triple lock, let's say if you're building up during arousal and or you do it during orgasm, it really creates an intense sensation.
It sounded like it. Mm-hmm.
So you're basically tightening your neck, then you're tightening your abs, then you're squeezing your genitals and butt closed, and you do that in order first, throat, middle, bottom, and then you eventually do it all at once. And I walk you through the steps. And then there's so many different forms of things you can try. There's one that you're using your Kegels to kind of pull.
Well, let's talk about Kegels. Let's just talk about that because, oh my God, forever it's like Kegel, boring. I'm like, oh God, like who needs it?
Yeah.
But you make a really cogent case, and especially as women get older, and you make a case for the dudes too, for tightening the muscles down there. So
and staying power, it's really key
and
for
staying power, right? I mean, so it's like if you want to have good sex, people, take note. Good lasting sex. So, can you just walk us through a Kegel exercise or two, and how frequently we should be doing them?
Yeah, I mean, they're basically the muscles that go in a figure 8 around the vaginal opening and the anal opening, or around the scrotum and the anal opening. And they're the same muscles that you use to stop the flow of urine midstream. That's how you can identify them. But you don't want to exercise them that way because you can cause a urinary tract infection.
Oh, right. Don't do that. Don't practice when you're peeing.
Don't practice when you're peeing. But yes, you're right. It's really key to avoiding what's called prolapse, which happens as we age and after childbirth, where some of the reproductive organs start to fall, or incontinence. But what an orgasm essentially is a contraction and release of muscle tension, in particular there, as well as your the rest of your pelvic floor, your transverse abdominis, those core muscles. So when that's what an orgasm is, a contraction and release of that muscle's tension in a pleasurable way. So when you physically, that's what it is. So the stronger those muscles are, not only the more friction you can create in the vagina, the more you can squeeze to stave off ejaculation, but the stronger the orgasms are. And then a lot of the exercises that I explain, especially those pulling the energy up, squeezing the Kegels kind of propels some of the energy, some of the sensation up. So we use the Kegels often in the exercises. And then the way to strengthen them is first by playing with them, doing these exercises. But if you want to, I always say and it sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. If you can remember, ideally, go for a couple of hundred a day. When you're at a traffic light, when you're answering emails, you basically are doing maybe 100 squeeze, hold, release. Squeeze, hold, release.
Okay, hang on. I'm going to do it with you.
Okay. Well,
okay.
But here's this next piece of it. You see, all right, so squeeze, right? Now wait, I'm going to show you something. Loosen your butthole.
Oh, no, I can't do that.
See?
I was that's confusing.
Okay, we'll try. Because this is the key to doing Kegels correctly.
I knew it wasn't going to be easy.
No, but it can be. I mean, listen, if you squeeze it with
practice.
If you squeeze it with your butt too, that's fine. You're just not,
okay.
you're not isolating.
Okay, now it's a little subtle. Okay, I can do that.
Toward the front.
Yeah. I'm totally doing it.
Okay, so you squeeze, hold, release, squeeze, hold, release, right? And that's the slow ones. And then the quick ones are squeeze, release, squeeze, release.
Oh, yeah.
Squeeze, release, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I can do that.
You got it. And then
is there any like, is there a benefit or what's the opposite of a benefit? A disadvantage of just not isolating the Kegel?
No, it's just like any other muscle that you're strengthening. If you isolate it, you're strengthening it more.
Right.
Than if you don't.
Right.
So it's not like it's worth harmed.
Yeah.
You
It's
just get more bang for your buck if you.
Okay, I got it.
If you isolate.
And so you should do that. So every day, a couple hundred times if you're a woman, just like wherever
you can.
And does it matter if you're lying down, sitting, walking, standing? Nope. You can just wherever you are.
Wherever you are, I'm doing
just
it
engage
right now.
I mean, I might be doing it the whole time we're talking, although it's like hard to concentrate and talk and do it at the same time.
When you're first learning, it's hard, but then when you get it, it's very easy.
And have you found, Laura, with your many years of teaching people this stuff, does it make a big difference if you do your Kegels regularly? And how long before it makes a difference? I might be asking for a friend.
I mean, I think with anything else, usually after a month or so of really, and you'll see, everyone's different, and it depends how much weakness you're starting with, but you'll see probably a difference in the intensity of your orgasms. And even like if you want to have G-spot orgasms, when the penis is in, or whatever it is, dildo, whatever it is, in the vagina, if you are squeezing around it, you're creating more friction against the G-spot. And you're also creating more friction for the person you're with.
Well, that's what I was going to say is it, if you're having sex with a partner, then not only is it improving your own pleasure, but it's a gift that keeps on giving. All right, everybody. If you all the people with vaginas, do your Kegels starting today.
Guys too.
Okay, so what's the Kegel? What's the Kegel? What's the equivalent?
Same thing.
Oh. Yeah. But wait, I don't understand.
And it'll make their penis dance.
Do we have a representation of that we can get from the book? Just kidding, not kidding. Okay, wait. I mean, what is a guy? What is the equivalent of a Kegel for a guy?
It's the same thing. He squeezes the muscles he would use to stop the flow of urine.
Okay. I guess so. Okay.
They're in the same figure eight pattern, but around his scrotum and anus.
Okay.
Rather than his vagina and anus.
Yeah.
He doesn't have one. And it's the same thing.
And that you said helps men last longer. Again,
yes, if he squeezes those as he's like, let's say, if he wants to last longer, what I call edging, and I explained.
I totally was going to ask you about that. So snap, you're on it.
Yes, edging and also retrograde ejaculation, which is what Sting does when he talks about the 24-hour. That's a tantric technique when he talks about the 24-hour orgasm. So that's about.
Is that real? I mean, is it real, or is that just total
I've never tried it
bullshit
for 24 hours, but you could. I mean, you definitely can have
orgasm for 24 hours. You're not eating. You're not.
I don't know what he did. I mean, it depends how committed you are, but basically, what you're doing is just like a woman. Women typically are capable of multiple orgasms. Men have what's called a refractory period after orgasm, before they can get hard again. And the reason we can have multiple orgasms is because we don't ejaculate. In fact, I have found, and there have been a couple of studies that have shown this, that women who do ejaculate, because women can learn to ejaculate with orgasm, actually do have a little bit of a refractory period. But so there's something about the ejaculation that triggers the system to decrease arousal. What happens typically with women who are multiply orgasmic is you go up to arousal, what's called plateau, where you're almost to orgasm, then you peak to orgasm, then go to plateau, then you peak to orgasm, then go to plateau. You don't go back down into resolution, right? And so what typically happens to men is they get aroused, plateau, orgasm, resolution, arouse, plateau, orgasm. If they're not ejaculating, they too are staying in the plateau phase. So when they use their Kegels and their breath, they can learn, and I teach them how to do this in the book, they can learn to, instead of the ejaculate coming out their penis, it goes back up into their bladder.
This blew my mind. I was like, wait, this is real?
Yes, it's real.
Guys do this?
Yeah.
Okay. And now, is this called is this one the retrograde orgasm?
Yes.
Okay.
And edging would be like if 10 is the point of no return, you get yourself to a 6 or a 5. And it's, all of these, I always say practice on your own first, because when you're with another person, it's harder.
Yeah. A little performance anxiety sometimes.
Yeah. Or sometimes a lot more arousal.
Yeah.
Oh,
right. Yeah.
All of it.
Mm-hmm.
So you get yourself to a 5 or a 6, and then using your Kegel muscles and your breath, you bring it back down. I mean,
but how do you use for the guys listening, how do you use your breath?
You're squeezing them and taking really deep breaths in through the nose. You're basically you're slowing down the nervous system and the arousal.
Okay. My breath is in through the nose, out through the mouth, or just in and out of the, in through the nose, out doesn't matter. Just deep breaths.
Yeah. Deep breaths, squeeze your Kegels. Think about baseball if you need to, doesn't matter, but bring yourself back down and there's also, you can squeeze your Kegels. You can also squeeze the base of your penis, or you can squeeze, you can press in the perineum, which is the area between the scrotum and the anus.
Okay. You would use your hand or your fingers to press there, and that can help slow things down.
And then you bring yourself back down, and then you get back up to a 6 or 7, bring yourself back down, get back up to a 6 or 7, bring yourself back down. That's typically men need to train themselves using the pressure at first and the Kegels at the same time. And then you learn to do it without the pressure. I mean, you can use the pressure during intercourse too. It's, your partner's
and what's the benefit of this?
It creates, it makes you last longer, but it feels really amazing. What most men report is that their orgasms are much more intense and much more of an explosion because they've kind of been building up.
Mm-hmm.
As they've been going.
So back to, and that, I mean, yay, great. All the guys, you're welcome. And the ladies, you're welcome. We're here to, we are here to, serve on the show. But how does Sting have a 24-hour orgasm? Is he just doing that whole thing?
He's probably doing a combo of edging and retrograde ejaculation. And, Sting probably had people bringing him food. And
exactly.
Grapes, and he's probably on a big fur bed in front of a fire for 24 hours with Trudy having grapes fed to him while he did it. I mean, who the hell knows?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
By the way, I don't even know if I would want a 24-hour orgasm, but the point is that you can have it. Yeah. If you practice edging and retrograde ejaculation.
Okay, but hang on. So let's go back to the retrograde ejaculation. So then are you using those similar techniques of kind of going up and going down, but then the semen going back in
you're squeezing in your muscles and stopping the flow. I mean, anatomically, we could go into the rabbit hole, but basically there's like a trigger point, a flap that closes or opens with ejaculation. And when you squeeze your Kegels, often you're keeping it from going into the urethra. So it's going from the scrotum up the vas deferens, about to go out the urethra, but instead goes back into the bladder.
Okay.
And ejaculate and pee comes off through the same tube in the penis, the urethra.
Right. Okay. And so the idea is that by going through that cycle, I mean, I guess a guy would feel it, like,
oh, you feel it. Yeah.
And then it's like, no.
Yeah. When it gets to like a 7 or an 8, he learns and squeezes it up, and he'll have a lot of mistakes. And by the way, if you want to know something kind of cool, women actually, the majority, I think it's only like 30% of women who ejaculate with orgasm. So let's say that's true from self-report. Then 70% of women are actually naturally retrograde ejaculators. And
that is interesting.
The reason they know this is because they did these studies where they looked at the urine, came out of the bladder after orgasm of women, and compared the urine of women who ejaculate versus women who don't. And they had studied what's in female ejaculate, which is obviously it's not semen, but it does have one thing in common with semen, which is called PSA in it. And so what they found is women who ejaculated had no PSA in their urine. Women who did not ejaculate have PSA in their urine after orgasm.
That is super interesting.
Isn't it?
Okay, so speaking of women, there's some diamond chakra information here that I want to ask you about, because that sounds like really good. But before we do that, does it make sense, Laura, to talk a little bit more about chakra work? I mean, how important is that for, again, people who are tuned in right now, who want to apply these principles? And just again, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, the chakra work that I've done has been next level for me in every area of my life. So in part, when I saw, I kind of assumed you'd go there in the book, and of course you did. Is there something that you can just talk a little bit about chakra work so the uninitiated can go, oh, maybe that's for me?
Yeah. And I wouldn't chakra work is amazing. I'm a huge proponent of it. But for the purposes of sex magic, here's how you have to think about chakras, is that our bodies are pure energy, right? And we're vibrating atoms. And then there are they're actually, I don't know, something like 14 total, but most people just talk about 7 main chakras in the physical body. So there are 7 kind of energy powerhouse vortexes that go from the top of your head to your tailbone. Those 7 points are points that you'll hear about when you hear about meridians, or you get acupuncture, or you're doing Tai Chi or Qigong. Those are all working with those different energy centers. And the reason it's important for sex magic is that those are the kind of the subway stops, let's say, that you're pulling your energy up through. And they all have colors associated with them, and a vibration associated with them, and purpose associated with them. So like, let's just say the root chakra is associated with the color red. It's associated with a sense of safety, home, groundedness. So, and by the way, the chakras develop within the first, I think, 4 to 7 years of life. So, your chakras are already set by the time you get to that age, but they can be primed. They can change directions. They can get smaller, bigger. But so when you talk about chakra healing, that's what you're doing. You're priming your chakras. You're getting them moving in the right way. And often it will reflect, like if you have an underactive, sacral chakra, you probably really struggle with creativity. If you have an underactive crown chakra, it's really hard for you to have any kind of sense of God or higher power, so as you open those and work with those, which moving sexual energy through them does actually really enervate them. But it's also a way to kind of, there's stopping points that are ancient techniques from Tantric, Kundalini, Taoism of moving, who all worked with the chakras, of moving the sexual sensation up through those chakras. So I have a lot of exercises in the book. Once you visualize them, you can even just think of them, if you're a newbie, as just like subway stops or stopping points, energy stopping points for pulling things up and through, or circling them around 2 of them, or that sort of thing.
Well, for me, really starting with, and I, some of the work specifically that I've done is with Joe Dispenza's Blessing of the Energy Centers, and his, what he calls, they're all chakras, but like Energy Center 1,
which is the root chakra,
and letting
He's
go.
He's trying to make it for the non-woo-woo, right? Yeah. He's trying not to talk about chakras, so he says,
right, makes it a little more accessible to the masses. And just for me, again, public service announcement here, that doing that work, especially in the lowest chakra, has been a way, for me to, I feel like, heal more generally, and to feel more comfortable letting go and surrendering. And I didn't expect for there to be such a great byproduct of doing that work. And so, like I said, and just in getting your book, it was like, oh, okay, now this all makes sense. Like, I'm
think about it. If you're not feeling safe in general, or safe in your body, it's hard to really open your heart, open your body, relax, receive, be fully present. Same thing with the sacral chakra, which is associated with orange. That is the seat of our creativity and sexuality. which is below our belly button and above our pubic bone. So that whole area, as you work, and one chakra affects the other chakra. And, so as you work on those areas, not only will you feel more safety, and by the way, as you cultivate and heal trauma that led you to feel unsafe and you cultivate safety, your chakras will improve. So it's a two-way relationship. You do the healing work in the mind and in the body, and your correlated chakras heal. And if you work on your chakras, you'll often notice an improvement in those areas as well.
Totally. And that's been my experience entirely. And it's like, okay, just do the work. Right. And I like how you have for people to be very motivated to read the book, you can take the chakra elevator to a full body orgasm.
Yeah, that's my favorite one. It's really fun.
It is such a, do you want to give the quick highlights?
Well, I mean, it's kind of what I said. You're learning to using your muscles and your breath to move arousal up. And here's a cool one that I didn't mention, but is the circling between you. So we know, I mean, it makes so much sense even when you think about our logistical lives. I talk a lot in the sex therapy work I do when I talk to couples or groups about this kind of, one of the most common issues I see is what I call the sex romance stalemate in most heterosexual relationships, where because men achieve a sense of emotional closeness and connection through the physical act of sex, unless they are struggling with their own libido. But if he has an otherwise healthy libido, that is how he gets there. Women are in large part inspired to be sexual when they feel emotionally close. So when she's not sexually available for any number of reasons that have nothing to do with him, he doesn't have the means to feel close and emotionally connected to her. He withdraws, not because he's trying to punish her, but because he doesn't feel close to her. And then she's that much less inspired to be sexual with him.
Can I just interject real quick? My dad has a genius way of describing this. He says, women talk to men. So the men, okay, hang on, let me make sure I get this right. Women have sex with men, so the men will talk to them. Men talk to women. Oh no, women. Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm like totally butchering this. Women have sex with men, so they'll talk to them, and men talk to women, so they'll have sex with them. I mean, yes, women are we are the connectors. Yeah. Right. I mean, emotionally connecting and a lot of it is through talk. Right.
Yes.
And that, there are memes, endless memes about the talking. That is true, people. And
that's all. But the talking is the means to connection, and the connection and love is the heart center. So this is the cool part that the Tantric people knew thousands of years ago, that men receive sexual energy through their genitals and share it through their heart.
Okay, hang on. Say that again. Men achieve. Say it again. Okay.
Men receive or take in sexual energy through their genitals
and share it through their hearts.
Women receive energy through their heart and share it through their genitals.
That's good.
So I teach this circling the energy technique, where you can actually, while you're having intercourse or even while you're sitting in a really sacred soul gazing scenario, she is sending energy and love from her genitals into his. He's pulling it up, sending it from his heart into hers. It drops back down into her root. She shares it to his root. And by the way, he doesn't even, if it's her, if it's not both of them doing it, because I figured out all these exercises with my husband as an unknowing guinea pig. So
Sam, you were a guinea pig.
He would die.
Lucky guinea pig.
Saying that, but he did not know.
He secretly loved it. I know it.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, he did love it, but he didn't know what I was doing until afterwards. And it's not like you can tell what you're doing because it's all energetic.
It's subtle, right? It can be it could be subtle or explosive, but you don't.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, it can be. So if it's a woman who wants to try this, try it. Like, imagine you're having intercourse and imagine pulling love and connection from him through your heart and dropping it down to your genitals and sharing love through your genitals. And imagine your heart pulling it up to his heart and into yours. So you can even create that circle of energy and that momentum. And then it literally starts to feel like it's going on its own.
I believe it. I mean, some of these meditations that I do where I'm really tapping into my heart energy, it's like, whoa, what's happening?
Yes.
And then you add, like you say, you add another person and you add, that sexual energy and next level. Okay, I got to put that on the list of things to do. But what I also want to add to that is the eye contact, because that's so important, right?
Yeah. Soul gazing. That's, when I talk to groups of people like, I don't know, the Young Presidents Organization or the Dental Convention or whatever.
All these people that just want to have sex. It's amazing what they have in common.
Yeah, everyone wants to have sex.
Better sex, not just sex, better sex.
Yeah, better sex.
Magic sex.
Yes, but they chakra, schmakra, energy. What the hell are you talking about? Right?
Yeah.
So what I introduce them to is what I call soul gazing, or that's not even me. Tantric calls it soul gazing. But basically, it actually synchronizes your heart rate and your breath. And you are staring into, so you put your right hand, you're facing each other, your right hand over your partner's heart. You stare into the eye above your hand, above their heart, and they're doing the same thing to you. And it's so funny when I have them just try it for a minute. And
they're just seated next to each other, right hand
across
over
from each other.
Okay.
So right hand over the left heart, like literally not over the heart center, like over where the doctor would listen to your heart.
Okay, right on your heart. Okay.
Yes. And staring into your left eye, which from them would be the right eye above the hand. And the other partner is doing the same thing in return. So you're sitting across from each other, hands on heart, staring into the eye above your heart and synchronizing your breathing. And after 10 seconds, they're cringing and giggling because it's so intimate. It's so intimate. And if you do that for like a minute, even, it feels like an eternity, but you start to see into the soul of your partner and you are so seen. So it can be unbelievably beautiful, and it is also unbelievably vulnerable and intimate. So a lot of couples just doing that is unbelievably powerful.
I say do it, people. Anybody listening or watching, that's on your to-do list. Yes. But really, I say that with all sincerity. I mean, like oxytocin is emitted when we make eye contact. And in today's very busy world where, our phones are weapons of mass distraction, very often we're not making eye contact with anybody much, know, and so this to me is as one of the biggest freaking life hacks is like a big yes. And to your point about the discomfort, it is entirely in my mind worth the discomfort for the payoff.
It's temporary discomfort. And I always say it's okay to giggle and cringe and stop for a second and be awkward. Just keep doing it. Do it for at least a minute, then 2 minutes, and 3 minutes. Do it as part of foreplay. Do it at the end of the day. There's so many things like that you can try. Another thing that I talk about in the book is the heart-to-heart hug. This is something I did for years. I didn't even realize I didn't tell my husband what I was doing. I forgot that I didn't tell him. And he heard me in a talk I was giving and was shocked because he loved it, but he didn't know that's what I was doing. He knew it felt really good. But I every morning, he usually wakes up a little bit before me. But either way, when I come downstairs, I give him a 30-second hug. And he knew that part. But what I am doing during the hug is I'm putting my heart against his, and I am sending.
So are you a little off center?
Yeah, just kind of a tiny bit. Just a tiny bit.
Okay,
and then I am, but you could also just be face to face. But I am pulling. For me, this is just my thing, but you could have it be love. I'm pulling God's love through the top of my head, circling it in my heart and sending it into his heart as I'm hugging him. And I'm saying to myself, which is really important for me as a recovering codependent, I'm saying to myself, I am choosing you today. I am in the energy of choosing. Laura. Because Because when you're in choice, you're in your power and you can choose not to be. And I am actively choosing you today. I'm choosing to love you. I'm choosing to be with you. I'm choosing to cherish you. And I'm sending you all of this love. He had no idea.
Well, the amazing thing, that's back to the beginning of our conversation, that you were tapping back to like really tapping this incredible power all of us have in our hearts, like so intentionally. And the fact that he didn't know, but he could feel it. Right?
He would ask for it. He'd be like, can we have a hug? He loved it.
Oh my gosh.
But
I love that so much. That's awesome. Okay, one more thing to do, people. You got to do the 30-second hug with all the trappings. Okay, we just have a few more minutes, Laura, and I have a couple more burning questions. I want to keep you all day, but I know you got other things to do. The pink sparkly vagina.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'm like, yes, please. Is that on my menu? I'd like that. What is it? How do we use it?
I taught a group of women about this, and 3 months later, I got an email from one of the women that she had been struggling with infertility for 2 years. And after she tried the pink sparkly vagina after our meeting, and she was now 3 months pregnant.
Oh, hallelujah to you, sister. Yeah. I mean, honestly, like back to your point, the point of this whole episode, this stuff is so powerful and empowering and healing. And just because we're probably not going to get to it, for people who are contending with any degree of sexual trauma, Laura does a really beautiful job of addressing that in detail. And I realize there's, different degrees of sexual trauma that people have experienced, but that I didn't want to conclude the episode without just giving reference to that, because I don't want anybody listening like, well, that's fine for all you guys.
Yeah.
Not for me who had the bad thing. So just knowing that there is, in fact, if anything, Laura, I love what you say, like if that's been your experience, there's even more upside for you. And I just say it so seriously for anybody listening who isn't really having, whether it's solo sex or with a partner, having wonderful, just beautiful, fulfilling sex, you are missing out. And if it's some, you got a little rehabilitation, Laura gives that to you too. But like, don't miss out, people. Don't miss out. Okay. That was just my little about, the sexual healing part too. So pink sparkly vagina, you can get pregnant.
Yeah. Or not.
Or not. Careful. Yeah. No, I mean, if you want it, but that can be a catalyst. I mean, so back to the healing too.
Yeah. You're basically turning your vagina into a vortex of pink, sparkling, swirling energy. And so I actually first taught this to a woman whose husband had delayed ejaculation, had difficulty finishing. And because I noticed it sped up the arousal, the partner feels it without realizing it. And so it's basically energy swirling around and circling around like a vortex around whatever's in there. So extremely pleasurable for both parties and very enervating for both parties. There's so many techniques like that.
There are so many techniques. So it's the idea that you're getting aroused and you're imagining. You're just imagining.
You're literally moving your conscious awareness into your vagina. Like if I were saying to you now, put all of your conscious awareness into your elbow.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm putting it all down there right now. Not my elbow.
I didn't want to make you go to your vagina. I wanted to do something low stakes.
Oh, yes. Oh, it's like boring energy in my elbow.
But if you were to close your eyes and go, like I can go and imagine being in my vagina, right? Like my conscious awareness is in my vagina. And you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And then you see it. You're in this vortex of
and
pink,
you feel it.
Swirling.
Right. It's back to the energy thing. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's really powerful.
And how much time are we talking? Like a couple minutes, 30 seconds,
yeah, as long
20
as
minutes?
You want.
Okay.
As long as you want. I mean, a lot of women tell me like, I'm done. I've already reached my orgasm. He's taking too long. So I just turn on the pink sparkly vagina and he finishes right away.
That is so good. Come on, you got to admit, that's good. Did you make that up? That's so good.
No, that's true.
No, I'm not making it up. No, not making. Oh God, double entendre. Did you create this thing?
Yes.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, that one.
When one of the world's leading sex experts. You know,
yes. And
make it happen.
my sacral chakra is very active, so I have a lot of creative ideas.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you about that too, but that's going to be for our next show. So this question came up, and I have a feeling you probably are have to address something like this quite a bit. This is somebody that I'm close to, a couple that they're middle aged. They've been married a handful of years. Both really attractive. Very sexually, very sexually compatible. But now you can imagine where it's going. The sexual heat has worn off quite a bit. He, like she says, he seems to want the act of it from her, but not the seduction. She feels like she can just show up and perform. I mean, she's, loves her husband dearly, wants to please him, but she wants to be wanted. And so it feels like they're at this impasse. So what does somebody like that do? I mean, obviously get the book and,
yes,
go through.
I mean, you will. If you do the exercises in this book, and he should be game because they're really pleasurable. And you don't even, if he's not into this kind of stuff and not open to it, like I've said, you can do it yourself. It will make it so much more fun for you. But I think, Andrea, it's really a combination of doing what I'm talking about in the book. And it would be great if you could do it together as like a fun little book club you're doing together. But you can also do it alone, combined with what we talked about at the beginning of this episode, where how do you really want to feel when you think about how you want him to show up differently? How do you now move yourself into the energy of that, which you go do the quiz that I talked about, what you really want about love, and move yourself into that energy when he's in the room. Or before you move into the room with him, start looking for evidence, even if it's subtle, that start treating him like he's already showing up for you that way. So when he takes
love
the
this,
garbage,
Laura. I can't even tell you how much I love this.
When he takes the garbage out, which he does every single night, and he's supposed to do because you clean the rest of the freaking house, right? Instead of not saying anything, say, thank you. You know what? I really appreciate you taking the garbage out every day. That makes me feel so cherished and seen, because I know that I don't want to take out the garbage, and I really appreciate it. You're giving him cues, you're creating synapse connections and positive reward for him showing up the way you want to. You are energetically entraining him by what you're doing in the quantum love sense to your energy of feeling cherished, seen, seduced, whatever those words are. And he's going to match you there.
Well, I feel very proud. I feel like, having read your book and taken it to heart, and this friend and I were chatting about this, that's where my mind went. It's like, well, how are you showing up? Because you're over here saying he's not wanting you. And I'm like, are you feeling sexy? Do you feel wanted?
She's in the energy of she who isn't wanted. Of
exactly.
Being yes.
Oh my God, we have come so full circle. Oh, don't go. There's so much more to talk about. But this has been amazing. I am so grateful, like I said at the beginning, for the book, for your decades of research, for your huge heart and courage, and being awesome. Thank you for this book. And so you get the last word. Anything that we didn't talk about that you think is important for the Getting Open audience to take away?
Well, what I would say is, when you buy the book, I've got so many goodies that come with it. So if you go to Dr. Laura Berman /Sex Magic, you can not only buy the book, but when you buy the book, you get my quantum sex course. It's 8-module quantum sex course for free. You get a sex magic ritual journal. You can come to my live Zoom event. It's a sex magic initiation.
Oh, I'm totally coming to that.
And you also get to enter a raffle for a one-on-one session with me. So you get all that and a can of great sex.
I was going to say, and you get your mind blown and your whole life transformed as a consolation prize. Now, this is really, really awesome. Thanks so much. Congratulations on your 10th book. This is going to be a big bestseller, and I'm so excited for you. All right, Laura Berman, thanks so much. Sex Magic, everybody. Amazon, wherever you buy your books. Is Barnes & Noble even open anymore? Wherever you get your books, get Sex Magic. Just, people, take my word for it. This is going to transform your life. All right, Laura, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, I hope you enjoyed listening or watching that show as much as I did recording it. Oh boy, guys. And I sincerely, I say this with my full heart. I know I stopped a couple times and was like, okay, you can do that. You got to do that. I mean it. And I mean it for myself too. When I think about things like soul gazing and the 30-second hug, and there was so much more that is so practical and applicable. And yes, of course, we all want to have better sex, and that's great. I highly recommend it. But I also think just the opportunity for each of us to have greater intimacy in our lives and to create that energy that we feel that we can bring to other people that leads to those deeper connections and better sex. I mean, it's all that. And so I hope you take it seriously. I hope you apply the teachings from Dr. Laura Berman. She is so awesome. I just love that lady. And let me know what you think. If you haven't written to me before, today's your day. You can email me at gettingopen@yourtango.com. I read all the comments that you guys leave on YouTube and iHeart and Spotify. I always appreciate your comments and feedback. So please let me know what you think of the show. Who are guests that you want to see? What are topics you want me to cover? I am here for you, along with Dane, Jacqueline, Lily, and the entire Your Tango team that is bringing the show to you. Whew. I'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in to Getting Open.